let's talk about the winter. So we're in Minnesota. It's freezing outside.
Hmm.
Can you look up like what's the temperature? I think it
The
was
temperature is 6 right now.
it
It's a high of 13 and it's a low of -1.
yes, it's super cold. We're in Minnesota, and if you're in the roofing business, it's depressing time of the year because uh, and I want to talk about it right away. Let's talk about bankruptcies, cash flow, and how many times you went under, or it's hard to pay bills in wintertime.
Oh yeah, it can be for sure.
Here's how it works. You have your ABC, you have your credit lines and stuff. You work. August is busy, September is busy, October is busiest month here, November is busy, and then
Mhm.
December it just stops.
Yeah.
So all your sales stop coming, but all your bills are catching up to
Oh
you.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You mentioned that 2 years ago you got in trouble. Let's
Yeah.
talk about it.
I did. And it's funny because like, nobody wants to talk about the what they don't want people to see, right? So, but yeah, that happened to me. I got behind, uh, and I got behind. I noticed it was the pattern. It was in the winter time is tough. You have to be really good at managing yourself in the winter time if you're not generating income, like you said. Um, I got behind, and part of it was I think the bulk of it was when I had to right after COVID, I had to let go of a admin in the office who was holding it down, and I had to let her go, and so nobody was there doing the job. Well, then we're busy, and I don't have time to interview and do this, and we're a smaller company, so I'm caught in the mix. And so what happens? You just wear that hat too. Well, then you can't wear that hat 100% and wear this hat 100%. So then you begin kind of half-ass doing this or half-ass doing something has to give. And then either it's production, you can't continue to bring in the deals, you have to manage the ones that you have, but you got to kind of figure out what's the balance. And so I ended up getting behind. Things started slowing down in the business. You'll see the sales just stop. Then you got to go do production or whatever it is. So I got behind, started traveling a lot during the winter time and just forgetting about things, or people didn't know who's calling, who's collecting. Uh, some customers don't want to pay, yada yada. So you just have a compile of different things that happen. And I got behind. I think on ABC I ended up owing 92,000, and SRS was $67,000. I was like,
So you don't have money in the bank to pay it, but you have $90,000 bill, 60 something
and then
thousand.
you got to wonder where's that money come from, and then so you're like, oh shit, that's a lot of money.
What was your receivables?
Um, at that time, it was a few 100,000, but they weren't coming. It was just, just stuck. It was like either homeowners, they wait, or they don't, or they kind of just sign off. Like in Minnesota,
Mhm,
people kind of sign off right when Christmas, right around
mhm,
Thanksgiving. People just sign off until New Year's. They don't want to talk to
mhm.
you. I don't want to talk about business, holidays. It's Christmas. New Year's, I don't want to talk. They don't want to talk
and,
about
and
it.
and you can't push it.
Yeah.
Guys, comment below what you do when your customers start ghosting you, especially during the holidays, during
Yeah.
Thanksgivings and Christmases. And
Yeah, and then there is a percentage of people that we've experienced that they have the money,
mhm.
but they have kids, and Santa's got to come. And then so they're like, well, and then they start trying to be their own financial advisor. They're like, well, if I spend a little bit of this roofing money, and then if I wait for my tax return, and then they start ghosting you.
And the longer they don't pay you, the harder it is to collect.
Yeah, it's the hardest collect. And then on top of that, you have your obligations, right? So if I have a 30-day with ABC or 60 here, well then now I have stuff accruing and I got to keep paying. Well, the money has to come from somewhere.
Mhm.
So then, and you don't want to get in a Peter to pay Paul thing because it's hard to get out of, and then it gets messy. So I got behind, and it's funny. I was talking to some friends. I'm like, man, I was like, man, I've never seen a 92,000. Oh shit. And then there's another bill. I got nervous. My friends were like, well, they're like, why don't you just pull a Trump? I was like, what you mean? They're like, fucking Trump claimed bankruptcy at least 13 times. They said that's what the white people do. I'm like, oh shit, it is kind of smart. I don't know, maybe. And I really considered it because
So who was giving you the advice? Your friends, like your industry friends?
industry friends. I'm not gonna say the
Sure,
names,
sure.
but industry friends. They're like, fucking claim bankruptcy. Write it off, start over. You get good credit, and then I've seen other people modify their name. So if my name was Repair King, I've seen people do Repair King Construction, Repair King LLC, Repair King USA. There's a
Mhm.
lot of that goes on out there, and I just didn't. I don't know. It turned into a pride
B-
thing.
But but, but it's not only. I had the funny thing is in 2015. 15, I got in financial trouble, like 350K. It was the same thing. It was $80,000 to ABC, and the same thing. Like, so, like all my vehicles was paid off. Like, I bought trailers, I bought trucks. I have like 8, 9 vehicles that was
Mhm.
all paid off. But when season ended, between collections, receivables, like I couldn't pay my bills, so I started making arrangements. And I remember people were saying, even my lawyer said, consider bankruptcy.
Mhm.
And I'm like, it's everybody gonna know who I am. That
Yeah.
ABC rap, that
Yeah.
United Products rap, you can change the name, but everybody gonna
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. And in my experience, so part of the reason when I took over Repair King was because the previous owner actually had to claim bankruptcy because he got in the same problem, and we talked about that last time.
Mhm.
He got behind with the bills, and that you see that's a constant thing that we have to talk about here is managing the financials in this industry. And so he got behind, and I took over. When he claimed bankruptcy, I went to go apply for my credit lines. I'm a new company. I did a DBA, right? Well, then I go to the credit people, they go, "Oh, Repair King." I go, "No, no, no, that's not me." I go, "No, it's a DBA." They go, "But you owe us money." I go, and they don't care. Maybe they've seen enough of it where they're just apprehensive and guarded, and they're like, "We need something clean." I'm like, "It is something clean. It's an acquisition." So it just didn't. I ran into some to some issues with that. There's a Beacon. I said it doesn't matter, but I went to Beacon. I have no experience with them. I went to go apply for a credit line. They're like, no. I'm like, why? And they're like, well, because it says here Repair King owes. I'm like, that's not me.